Today I have 5 tips to help you create the perfect composition. Tip number 1. I originally heard this from Hans Hofmann's book called Color Creates Light, where he said the first 4 lines of your painting or your drawing are the edges of your work. So just keep in mind that the 4 edges of your painting should be considered lines in your work. Number 2 is to overlap. Overlap to create depth. And if everything is flat and just lined up, you're going to have a 2-dimensional flat looking composition. But if you overlap things and have something behind and something in front in the foreground, then it will create depth. If you look at these 2 early pair paintings that I've done compared to the second 2, and the way that the overlap creates a lot more interest in the painting. I'm in my hallway because the light it's late at night and the light is really bad in a lot of the places in my house. So, okay, line number 3 is rule of the thirds. So if you think of a tic-tac-toe board, and so you've got cut your blank canvas or paper into the tic-tac-toe board, and then where the lines intersect are places where you might want to put the focal point of your painting. Now, after I tell you this, go ahead and break the rule and put something smack dab in the middle. A lot of this is just, for example, when people learn something classically, and then you can break the rules for your own purposes. That's what I'm saying. So classically, you would want the focal point to be off center, but depending on what your statement of your piece of art is, you might want something right smack dab in the middle or at the very tippy top or somewhere else, depending on what your art is trying to say. Here are a few tasty examples of off-centered compositions where the focal point is not in the center but off-center. Right, last but not least, one of my art idols, Hans Hofmann, suggested this also to his students, was to not have more than 2 complex groupings in one composition. 1 is fine, 2 is fine, but more than 2, you know, you're just creating chaos and confusion. So if you think about how you would compose a story or a book that's written, or a story, or even a song, there's a beginning, a middle, a crescendo, and an end. And you wouldn't leave something hanging, and you wouldn't have things going off in different tangents that never resolve themselves. So just keep that in mind, and happy painting and happy drawing. In the Art Institute of Chicago, there's a great master painting by Peter Claes of a still life. There's a lot going on in this painting. I would say more than 2 complex groupings, but it works because there's a lot of negative space, places for your eyes to rest. There's a story being told here. You can just see the quickly eaten pie, the shells left, makes you wonder where the people left in such a hurry. I hope you enjoyed this video on 5 tips for compositions. If you have any questions for me about it, feel free to leave a comment below.